Hello, I'm Elizabeth Lamb, class of 2013, and I'm reporting to you from the evolving library. When most people think of a library, they think of a warehouse full of books. This fact was reinforced recently in a survey conducted by Ithaca, the folks who bring you JSTOR. They surveyed faculty members in various disciplines and asked them questions concerning the library. The faculty members reported back that the role of the buyer or the acquirer of materials was the most important function of the library. At W&L, the library has well over 700,000 books and access to over 85,000 periodical titles. With all this information, how are students able to find the right resources? Fortunately, the library has a couple of tricks to help link students like myself. Say I'm doing a research project and I'm using one of the library's databases. I end up finding a lot of great articles, but how do I know if the library has any of them? Or more importantly, if it has a resource in full text? Easy. I click on a button called WebBridge and it grabs the author, title, and other citation information. It then gives me info on how I can access the article. It can also help me create an interlibrary loan request if it turns out that the library does not have access to the journal. All of this help was just a click away. And it even works with free online databases such as Google Scholar, ERIC, and PubMed. The library is expanding its collections by digitizing valuable printed materials such as student honors theses and the letters of Robert E. Lee. Also, the library is exploring new platforms to host digital collections, such as the Internet Archive for Calyx and Omeka for Ringtum Phi. They are also working on a more user-friendly catalog called ViewFind, which can be used with smartphones. Omeka and ViewFind are examples of open source software. The library's development of open source software is made possible by a close working relationship with ITS. For many years, the library has maintained WordPress, an open source blogging system, and made it available to faculty and student organizations. This year, Eric Owsley and the Communications Department took advantage of the library's expertise.
With an idea of bringing WordPress on campus in a platform that the news office could really make use of. Kwang Soo really took care of the whole thing. He set up the server. With ITS's help, they created a virtual server. Instead of having to create individual websites for each of the projects that we do in the news office, we have one site that can be subdivided into any number of other projects. It couldn't be easier to do some of the things that we're doing now. The new audience dashboards, a brand new alumni site, incredibly high-powered systems that let us do everything we want to do.
In addition to providing information systems, the library is connecting and working with other departments on campus to meet the existing and future needs of the university. Several years ago, the library perceived a need for students and faculty to be able to print professional quality posters for poster sessions. In exploring the feasibility of providing this service, the library discovered that various departments desired the capability for large format scanning as well. By forming a coalition with the Geology Department, ITS, and Facilities Management, the library was able to acquire a large format printer scanner and make it available for use for the entire campus. Truman Payne explains the importance of this service to his work.
I work in facilities management. I use the scanner for the construction documents and the plans. With the scanner being here at the library, I was able to take advantage of the great resource, and as a result, I saved about $10,000.
How else is the library evolving? Well, in space. While the library's recent renovation is fading fast in student memory, it has fundamentally changed how people use the library.
The integration of the delivery of library and technology services into a single service point was the overarching theme of the renovation design of the library in 2008. Offering classroom space as part of that design was important in the sense that it would bring faculty into the building, it would bring students into the building, there would be a lot of wonderful commingling. But this classroom was unique in the sense that the concept was a highly configurable classroom. Highly configurable so that new pedagogies could be explored and new learning styles or just varying learning styles could also be captured.
I am teaching my business strategy class in M47 in the library this term. M47 in the library is actually ideal for creating a teaching environment that is adaptable and flexible to these different teaching. So, for example, I was able to break the students into 5 separate groups. We were using the whiteboard table where they were writing down their initial points of analysis. They had to present to each other, each team did, as far as what those analyses were. And then we started discussing in the larger group and what some of these things meant. So I'm very happy that I had a chance to use this room, and I found that it's really supported my teaching in a way that other rooms that I've used in the past haven't done.
So the concept of taking this design approach to other less desirable classrooms is sensible, somewhat underutilized and not particularly desirable by our teaching faculty. If they could be revived in a similar fashion as M47, being highly configurable and with some input from faculty, from students, library, and technology, then we could get better utilization out of those classrooms.
Classroom spaces bring faculty and students into the library, as do other services. For example, the library invited the Writing Center to make its new home in Leyburn's renovated space because of the natural connection between research and writing. Here to talk about the Writing Center is Professor Smelt.
We've really enjoyed having the Writing Center in the library the last 3 years or so. It's been very accessible to the students. We've had a lot of business and would like to have even more. So we are helping a lot of students to write their assignments for college successfully and happily.
The Writing Center holds its hours in the evening when students are most active. As Professor Carlisle says,
leaving the library at 11 o'clock after doing Johnson Scholar interviews, the library was packed. Every single seat in the periodical area had a student sitting in it, but also those little rooms that are open for students to work together. Those were all busy. The carrels downstairs were busy, but the real life of the library for students happens after dinner, and it might happen much later than that.
In the sciences, the library is facing completely new opportunities to participate in the curriculum and expand its services. With the potential HHMI grant and the creation of the Integrative and Quantitative Science Center, or IQ Center, big changes are coming to the Telford Science Library. For example, to take advantage of some of the beautiful spaces in the Science Center, computers will be relocated and supplemented in more inviting surroundings, and currently unused space will be maximized to accommodate new technologies such as self-checkout. Of course, the librarians have worked extremely hard to accommodate the scientific print collection in light of the removal of stacks from the lowest floor of Telford in order to house the IQ Center. To talk about the center itself, Professor Ianson.
Well, for one of the things that will be happening in the centre is that we'll be instituting quite a few pedagogical schemes, testing new pedagogies, and I think the library staff can be really important in that, instrumental in that. As in addition to ITS, we're constantly hearing about updates of the different technologies that are available to teaching. This centre will be a perfect place for us to experiment within workshops, within modules, etc., with faculty, using the library staff and ITS to bring those sort of workshops together. The second part of it is that there'll be an awful lot of data that's being produced, and so we're going to have to work really hard with the library and the ITS staff to be able to distill that data so that it's readily available, that it's stored appropriately, and we can then get it back again.
As Professor Ianson said, managing data and other digital assets will be key to the future work of the library. This concern about archiving and making important data sets available is not limited to the IQ Center. Michael Anderson also has hopes for the library to expand its work with data in the social sciences. I'm a big fan of the way the library is reaching out. I think it will be important for the library to continue expanding its data support services to establish a data repository where promising data sets found or created by honor students and others can be archived. Data sets in the repository will be easily discovered by future students and developed and expanded over time. These ideas build on the work the library has been doing to support the use of large data sets in sociology, economics, and other fields. Now, Professor Blunch.
So I work quite a bit with the library, specifically the data support so that students in the class, they will go to John Sombart. John will help guide them into types of data set. Then Carol Cast will help getting it into a manageable form so that it can actually be analyzed using the tools that students have obtained in the econometrics.
In Labor and Library, students will find computers that have been modified with the software needed to work with datasets. Lastly, the library has a shared services desk in Leyburn. Students can check out books, laptops, iPads, get help with their computers, have posters printed, get help with their research projects. It is one-stop shopping. Incidentally, this video that you're watching was created using the technology available at the library. The hardware and software that was used is available to any W&L student or faculty member.